Well, we have gone live, and yes, I have got a crazy awesome show for you tonight. I've got one of my good buddies from down south in Florida going to be joining us, Mr. Nicolas Beltran and Tackle Fishing Adventures from out of the canals of the South. And we are going to sit back and relax, grab your drink, and enjoy the final cast. And just like that, we've already got him in. Mr. Nick, how's it going, brother?
What is going on, Randy? How you doing? I'm doing good, man. How's everything?
That is the laziest intro ever, man. Come on.
You got me after work, and it's the final cast. I mean, come on, dude.
There's never a final cast. You know that.
By the way, I want to start this by saying, what a great title you have for this. Final cast. It's awesome for the podcast, but for the actual experience of going fishing, it's not a real good thing.
Because it's never the final cast. There's always another one.
Never. You're absolutely right.
Always. You just keep on going. Yeah. So, man, tell me a little bit about kind of like what you've been got going on, because you have some things going down in South Florida in the canals down there. So tell everybody a little bit about who you are, your show, and what you got kind of going on down there.
Well, man, Nicolas Beltran. I did my own YouTube a couple years back, Tackle Fishing Adventures. I fell in love with kayaking. I fell in love with getting more embracing more of that nature and getting closer to it. Kayak does that, and it did for me. You had a big part of that. I mean, I started doing the trails and stuff, getting involved in the competitive side of this sport.
And we had more fun fishing together in the canals.
Oh well, I mean, 100%. I mean that I can't take it away. I should have said that first. Yeah, we had a lot of fun, exploring waters down here together and exploring waters that you already, locally you fished and locally I fished. And then, but what I'm saying is, like, after that, once I get into the competitive and I started embracing the sport and the group of people and the amazing community that this naturally just brings, I fell more and more in love with it. So other than that, I just started filming myself doing this. It was around the boom of the YouTube kayak fishing, let's film everything kind of time, maybe a little bit after.
So did you actually like kind of like officially take off kind of during COVID a little bit?
I mean, I would say yes, because we had more time to get involved with with social media more and stuff, yeah. But honestly, COVID was a real tough time. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows that, and me in the medical field, I work in a hospital. So
yeah, I was going to say, you had it the worst. I'm telling you.
I mean, some would say, right. But the people I was attending to had it the worst. I mean, that was a terrible time. Let me just tell you that. And I don't take any of that time for granted. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. But I did less fishing than I did the years before with you guys and starting a trail up and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, and now we're in this boom again of everybody's settled, everybody's back to work. So trying to find that hobby again and trying to get back, on track on it with YouTube and stuff. So
just like Nick said, man, we went back quite a while when it was SoFlo KBF, and then it turned into the Kayak Anglers of Florida. It started out as a smaller group than that, just like a couple of us going out fishing and kind of driving each other crazy in the canals down there, chasing snakeheads and peacocks and bass and doing whatever we can find. Whenever we can find a piece of water, we would try to go to it.
We'll try to go to it, exactly, and try to hold an event there was tough too, or try to manage that whole cup of tea there.
You remember the snakehead roundups we used to do?
I do remember it. But it was one of those things where I was like, it was a new species for myself living down here many years and not able to catch a freaking snakehead for the life of me. And it took what, Randy, like a couple of events for me to be like, okay, well, I got this now I can catch. And I think it was that event that I won, the day that I won, and whatever. I don't know if it was second place or first place, but
that was the best day ever.
It was like, never caught a snakehead in my life. Joined this event. It was a friendly event we had, with fellow anglers and stuff. And I don't know what happened there, but I was just catching them and catching.
That was the one that you came in second and you wore your nurse's outfit because you came straight from work. Yeah. Hey. We were all dressed up. It was a Halloween event. We were just out having fun. I think there was probably maybe 10, 15 of us, and hitting the canals in the area of Margate And yeah, I mean that was a lot of fun. I remember those days.
It was. It was.
Those
It
were a
was
lot of
very
fun.
creative. It was a creative format.
Something's
That's
creative, right?
and then I remember what was it? I remember Randy there. A pirate came to our fishing gathering, and
And it
I
was
kept
decked
telling,
out,
yes, and I kept telling myself, It's so hot," and this guy is wearing a pirate decked out,
standing on his
Titan
kayak like a
decked out pirate. It was
like
awesome. It was
Captain
great.
Morgan chilling on the bow of his kayak. I remember that. I totally remember that. That was
Very
a lot.
funny. Very funny.
That
But
was that
yeah,
was that was a good one. I remember those.
yeah.
Okay, so then we get through COVID, and then, well, I wouldn't say we kind of got through COVID. During COVID, we launched the Kayaking with the Florida Trail series, and Nicholas helped me out there. And tell me a little bit about your experience about kind of like just helping out and being part of tournament trails, man.
Well, I mean, it was a first for me. It was a first for a lot of the guys that were on the group, trying to start that up. And nothing, man. I was just enjoying it every moment. And the fact that you gave me the opportunity to kind of chime in and help out with that, it kind of like discovered a little part of me that I never knew I had was, you know, going out there and trying to create business and create a flux for this thing to flourish, the state trail. So and then that just it just build up a little bit of experience, a little bit of more of a courage in me to go out and start talking about my passion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I still day to day I'm learning how to do it. Sometimes I'm a little less than others, but if it wasn't for that and going into ICAST, and getting that experience, which I do recommend anybody who's involved in this and wants to, progress in their fishing career, is one thing is to always hit up a format like that, an event like that. It really did. You took me out there and you're like, hey, threw me out in the woods. Let's do it. And
Yeah, I
it
did.
was
I
the
threw you
best way.
out
It was
there.
the best way. Honestly, it was the best way. Because if not, I wouldn't have never maybe made that attempt or made that step. But that helped a lot with the trail.
Well, when I threw you into the wolves and you had to do that interview with Scott Grisby.
Was it Scott Grisby? Yeah, was it Scott Grisby? Yeah, I think that was the first one. Yeah,
in
yeah. It was. I
in
mean,
the
I've
live target
never.
booth.
Look, I'm a Cuban in Miami. I mean, I've never gotten to even get close to a professional angler or anything like that. So it was nerve wracking. It was nerve wracking, but look, we did it, and we got a lot of business. We got a lot of those back end heartaches. I'm sure you remember, and you're still doing probably. And
What,
it was,
heartaches? No way.
yeah, heartaches, heartaches.
No, no.
It's a pain. It's a pain to go through that, but it's a struggle that's needed whenever you want to make something happen, and it happened. So we
Yeah.
did that, and then what else? I mean, we all attended that first trail. It was a great experience. I mean, man, I miss it. I really do. I want to get back into it, but it's missed. It's missed,
Well, you know
unfortunately.
what? You'll always have an opportunity, especially when things get settled and you finally figure out what's going on, and you
Right.
get things all worked out where you're at down there. And
Hmm.
when you finally get jump back into it, competitive fishing. It's you have your roller coasters, or your ups, your downs, your lefts and
Of
your
course.
rights, your
Of
your
course.
learning lessons, and then
Yeah,
also your heartache.
you know this. I learned a lot in that trail. I mean, the bug bit me at the wrong time, you know, but my competitive side was led to blindness, and things are
Well,
understood.
Well, one thing, tell
Right.
everybody who's watching and or listening on all of our podcast platforms,
Right.
tell them I'm bringing this up because this is Nick knew I was
No,
going to start hitting you with some hard
no, it's
questions.
it's all right. Go ahead. I
So
have no
tell
problem.
everybody the one major lesson that you learned during
So
trail.
so yeah, I like the chuckle you did. That was a good intro to it. Basically, amateur mistake. I mean, again, this is my first time in an event like this. Although it was not like a KBF event or any big national type of thing, or countrywide type of thing, it was a
But it was big
learning
for
curve
us.
for
It was
me.
big for
It
South
was
Florida. It
good
was
for
big for
us. I
Florida.
mean,
Yeah.
obviously. So I'll tell you what it was. It was a big mistake. It was, getting the identifier correct so that you don't mess up the entire practice and 2 days of fishing to try to find fish and actually be able to find fish and not be able to have that work for you in the long run. But It happens. I mean, it's one of those things where your excitement builds the most, and you get involved in the whole competition of it. And you just got to check yourself on the door and see what you did wrong and learn from it. And I definitely learned from it, because past that, I've only done more so like online stuff. And I actually did an event about a year ago, I think, or 2 years ago. I don't know. Time has gone by so quick. We did an event in Lake Okeechobee, and it was a kind of like a sponsorship type of event that we did in North Okeechobee.
Like
And
Gambler Baits or something like that? Something like that?
no, Bruiser Baits.
Bruiser Baits. There you go. Yeah.
Bruiser Baits, they hold this event in Lake Okeechobee sometimes. And I got invited, and look at that. I practiced for the day before, and I knew what was going on with the bass. It was a very windy, tough day. Nobody expected to catch as much as the limit was or more, and I did that. So, and everybody was impressed. They're like, "What we're using? What we're using?" I was like, "Dude, I made sure that I worked all the baits I normally would work in any
Right.
situation, no matter where I'm at, and I went with the strong lures that I'm good at." And it was that fifth lure that I tried, and it was a buzzbait with a, and I threw the buzzbait without a trailer, without anything, just thinking, hey, skirt buzzbait, see what happens. Nothing bit. I just switched it up to a frog. I put a horny toad in the back of the trailer, or one of their Bruiser Baits frogs.
Right.
Instantly, just I don't know what happened. Just they were just on lock with that Bruiser Bait trailer buzzbait combination, and first place. My first place, and that was my first time, in an event.
That was awesome, because like you said, you went through the trail in Florida that traveled all over. We fished Lake Okeechobee. We fished a lot of different lakes and waters in the Florida chain, pretty much from Harris Chain all the way down to out west. I mean,
Harrison. Well, the furthest that I did was the Swanee River, which, let me tell you, man, that was a great experience, because I've never fished that Swanee River, and catching my first Swanee bass was great. So, these things don't just allow you to be in that competitive side; it allows you to explore waters that you'll never explore, kind of force you into it. And I would have never drive there. You know that, Randy. I mean, I live down here in freaking Cuba over here, so like, this is Cuba, and from Cuba over there is like, crazy. It was crazy.
Well,
I enjoyed every minute of it.
You learned a lot through that. And when you travel around and you do a trail that's actually a mobile trail, and you hit a lot of different locations and a lot of different water, and you learn a ton from the anglers that are a part of that trail. So what Nick's saying, two things: one, make sure you always got your identifier correct when you're doing a tournament, and two,
check the night before, check the day before.
Learn what you can when you go on these trails from
bring a whistle with you. Bring a whistle with you.
Well, he had the weirdest thing happen to him when he was out on the water. He actually got like a citation for not having a whistle.
Yeah.
One person out of everybody that they checked, and poor Nick is the one guy who got like stopped by the Florida wildlife.
I came in second that event. It was okay. It was good. It was good. That big bass at Lake Kissimmee was good. It was good. It was
Poor Nick has had some crazy run-ins with some crazy things, man. He's got some learning.
But I learned, man. It was thanks to those moments, that now when I look back and I think, can I do it?
Yeah.
You darn sure I can do it, and I can do it right and proper this time. So
yeah,
just waiting for it, man. It's been a while since I've done some competitive trail, kind of like lake to lake type of thing. So I want to get back into it. I just, I got to kind of like, we're not retired. Like, I'm not a retiree. I'm not like a military guy. So I'm not, involved in the time I need to do all those things. And, it's just right now I'm building a family up. I'm doing all these things. Not to say I can't do it. Just priorities. You kind of have to weigh them. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to keep things easy for me.
Well, we've hit our 15-minute mark, so we're going to take a quick break from one of my brand sponsors, and that is the Rogue Company. Make sure you get out there and get that board leash. That's the Titan board leash. Put that on your board, because you know what? Those things cost some money.
Or the phone tethers, man.
Well, the phone tether, too. We did that last week. But yeah, get that board leash. Sit back, relax. Here's a quick commercial. We'll come back with you. Get a drink. That's right. So make sure you save that investment, get that Titan board leash for those catch boards and all other boards that you have out there so it doesn't go swimming or takes a dump in the lake. Get that board leash for your board today. Rogue
That
Company.
was nice. That was really nice.
You like that?
I like that. That was
I'm
really
almost
nice.
getting I'm getting a little bit better at this. So
Yeah.
Nicholas had a really cool opportunity while we were creating the basically the trail down there in Florida, and he kind of hopped on board a lot and did a lot of shows with me and tried to co-host and also bring guests in and learn. And for those that are trying to figure out the podcasting world or a show like this, Nick, tell them a little bit of kind of like your experience of kind of basically diving in and doing this thing.
Um, well, like I said, after that ICAST experience, that first ICAST experience, it really got me more involved in communicating and talking and I've always had a hard time articulating. Is that a perfect word for it?
Yep.
Articulating what I'm thinking and what I want to say. So it helped me. It really did because eventually I started noticing the more I talk, the more I'm learning how to gather my thoughts and actually portray them to you as the audience or anything. And then once we started doing the podcast, that was another kind of like opportunity for me to explore that and help me with that. So I mean, if you have a passion for something, it's gonna come to you a lot easier. And if you have somebody like, for instance, yourself, Randy, someone who can support you within that realm, then all you're gonna do is just see progress, no matter how fast it is or how slow it is. It's progress. It's and what helps you, it's you sharing your passion.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why I've stuck with this for such a long time because it's something my wife even tells me, hey, and she's been pushing me too. She's a support beam in my life where she's like, hey, you have hard times with everything else. Like have always had hard times with school, and I've never been that type of person, book smart or anything like that. So whatever I did have interest in, that's where you would see that passion come out, and you'll see that such an easy flux of information that I can draw out and let you guys know of. So that helped a lot. You know,
So when Nick started with us down in South Florida as kind of like a co-director or co-host or whatever title we gave Nick at that time, um,
friends
he
with benefits.
whoa, careful. The the he started out very timid, slow, kind of like he really wanted to make sure that he was keen on what he was saying and things like that. But at the same time, you saw him kind of grow. And when you have like the conversation we had a couple weeks ago about having a mentor or somebody in your life that just helps you grow, helps you kind of push you to the next phase of your life and kind of pushes you along the way and is there with you as a companion just to kind of be there. You do get better at the things that kind of fuel all of you. And
Right.
Nick started to really thrive when he did that first interview at ICAST. It was like watching the light bulb kind of just trigger, and then he was able to, recite knowledge, get information out quicker. Because at ICAST, you're talking a million times a day about the same thing over and over and over and over again. So then by the end of day one, you've got to kind of figure it out.
Right.
And you get your own rhythm and your own little swag when you kind of get into your groove of teaching and talking about what you're really passionate about. So with that being said, tell us a little bit about Tackle Fishing Adventures and kind of like where you're going with that and what you're doing right now.
Right. And I don't know if you recall this, but I've been working on that probably before when we started doing this, like when started fishing competitive is when I started that idea blooming. You helped with that idea. Definitely you are the name on the logo. Like you did that logo for me, and that just helped a lot because let me tell you, if you can put like an image to a passion or to a thing that you're trying to get or grow, it speaks volumes. And ever since then, when someone sees it, they're like, okay, we know where that's coming from. We know where that is. And it's crazy, dude, because like in my hospital, people, use YouTube. So when they see it, they're like, dude, and it's Tackle Fishing Adventures. My name is not on there. They don't know anything about it. And they see that and they're like, your tackle fishing adventures. You've been fishing in these canals lately." So it helped, and that just gives more confidence in the growth of your content and the growth of your business or whatever it is you're trying to your goal is. It does help a lot. So that
Look,
just initiated everything.
you don't only have me as a
Ignited
supporter,
everything.
but you have another one as a supporter, Mr. Brian Schiller, and
What
that
is this one?
he's been
Oh, of
watching
course,
you,
Brian.
watching the evolution of Beltran for years. Been awesome to watch this
10
dude
years.
evolve. If you haven't been watching him, you missed out. So make sure, just like Brian
Oh
says,
man, thank you.
go over to Tackle Fishing Adventures and like and love those pages, because that's where you need to,
Appreciate
like,
it. Appreciate it.
if you want to know stuff about Florida, we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a minute. If you want to know
Mhm.
stuff about Florida and fishing in canals and fishing down south in Miami, maybe you're going after maybe you got a bucket list of peacocks, clown knives, snakehead, bullseye snakehead, something like that.
I haven't caught them yet.
You're gonna want to
I
make sure
haven't gotten the clown. I haven't gotten the clowns yet,
you
but
you know how to do it. You just haven't caught it yet.
it hasn't I haven't been there yet. But yeah, man, I appreciate that. Thank you, Brian, for that. What was I gonna say? I kind of lose myself sometimes.
It's
I have to get
okay.
myself back. I have to get myself back. So what were we talking about?
We were talking
Well,
about the evolution of where tackle fishing's kind of evolved
evolution.
into.
Okay, so basically, if you look at my channel, you look at my videos, I'm not a guy that likes to. I mean, I don't like to promote myself and say, "Hey, um, I know everything about fishing. Come to my channel. Let's take a look. Let's take a gander." I'm not like that. I'm learning myself, and I don't think it's right for me to sit here and tell you because there's millions of ways to skin a cat. Now, all I tell my people who want to are interested in my channel, and the people I've talked to, in iCast and people like that, I've always told them this. I look, if you're interested in the exotics, if you're interested in fishing out, if you're interested in getting into a kayak or interested in look and gathering these exotic fish from a really cool place, just check out my channel. I don't even talk that much. I don't really do instructional stuff. I mean, I do some stuff if you look at my channel though, but I'm more of a this is real time. This is what you're gonna get. This is what you got. I and then I've learned through you guys and through watching Chad and the evolution of that and the evolution of all these mainstream guys that are on this kayak universe. Um, they've learned themselves that it's the more simple you are, the more clear you'll be, the more passionate others will be attached to the content.
Right.
And I feel like less is more in that spectrum. Now, there's a lot of backing to it because you gotta have like to compensate for that. And that's where the iCast experience happened. That's where the podcasts are really great sources for you to develop as a person that wants to succeed in this whole content social media avenue. It's and a lot of it too, Randy, that we didn't get to was there's a lot of work. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of putting your hand out, shaking the hand, personally looking at someone in the face and saying, "Listen, I'm interested in your stuff. I use your stuff. Let's do something."
Right. And
And
it
and
may
not a
not
lot of people do
and
that.
it may not happen right then and there. It's
It
going to
might
take some
not happen
time.
right there, but
Right.
not a lot of people do that. A lot of people feel like they can just get that freedom of a relationship. Just I like because I just throw a pole. I go fishing. I know I'm entitled to all this, and it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that you learn that as you go. So
You learned and over the past few years, Nick's definitely learned how to negotiate, how to talk, how to, like, not
be
necessarily
yourself.
sell himself, but just sell the overall tackle fishing experience. And
Right.
when you sit back and you watch Nick's episodes, yeah, he'll talk to you for a little bit. He'll tell you exactly kind of like some of the things that he likes best about his ride that he's in or his yak that he's doing and stuff like that. But when he's out on the water, he's showing you just how to fish, just how to do it. Just go out and enjoy
Right.
it, and he's
Or
doing it
what your
simple.
experience could look like,
Yep.
basically. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody's experience and perception of that exploration of waters and fishing and catching different species and getting involved. Like, let's say you're a person that wants to move down here. What are you going to be seeing? What are you looking for? Perfect. What a better video to look at than someone doing that. You know what I mean?
So tell us
The-
right now, you've been down in the canals out there. I've been watching you a little bit. You've been
right.
trying to get on the water when you can. Tell us a
I
little
have.
bit about what you're catching them on and what you've been catching hot right now.
So now I went recently to I'm down in Homestead, and the only kind of I don't know how to put this, Randy, like only kind of like natural waters we have here. When I say natural, I don't mean man-made lakes. I don't
Right.
mean man-made canals and stuff. I meant out west where I live is the Everglades. So I've been really focusing on keying on that natural source of fishing, and trying to learn from there, because it's a lot easy, to be honest with you, and a lot of people can attest to this that live down here. It's a lot easier to go to these canal systems and these man-made lakes that are kind of closed in, and there's no fluctuation of water, no current and all that stuff that you have to deal with, and and thrive there. So I'm I'm with the body of water I can work with, to try to get and adapt to the body of water that people up north and these big fisheries like the Kissimmee chain and
Hmm.
Okeechobee. It's kind of like that, where ever since I've been in this, I've been wanting to learn more and adapt myself more to that technical way of fishing than just sight fishing. Because a lot of these canal systems, a lot of these man-made lakes, it's basically sight fishing
Off
to
the
your
ledge,
best
let it
to
drop.
ability.
Boom. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I'm not dogging that aspect, because that I enjoy that as much as I enjoy going out there and catching that big lunker in the very mucky water. You know what I mean? But or in those big lily pads and hyacinths and stuff like that. But um, clear water, man. I went the other day and I did some bank fishing, which we used to do. Bank fishing is one of my favorite things to do, other than the kayak. And sometimes it's even better than the kayak in some aspects, in some places you can get into. But nothing, man. I mean, you know this, Randy. I mean, peacocks here. I get this question a lot: is, hey, what time is the best time to go catch peacock? I always tell them, listen,
Anytime that has
go
a minute in it.
anytime that has a minute in it, honestly, because we have that experience. We know this, but someone who's coming from somewhere else is probably not going to have that ability to do that. So I
Right.
tell everybody, listen, any day of the year, you come in here at noon, eat your breakfast early. Eat your lunch early, get to a canal system, anything that has structure, throw at it, and throw
Yeah.
at it with a fast-paced, a wrap, an X wrap, anything that shines, that brings some light, and get to them. If they're deeper in the water column, you're seeing deeper in the water column, you got to use a deeper bait. If they're
Hmm.
in the middle column, use a middle bait. You know what I mean? So it depends. But peacocks haven't been something I've been catching a lot lately. Honestly, I've been out there in the Everglades trying to do that. But
So for instance, we have individuals that are in West Virginia, kind of like all over the place, kind of watching
right,
right now. Give them a brand that you would say that would be best. Like for me, I use the Rapala Go Shad. That was
go
my
to,
favorite.
go to. Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's a go to. I mean, I hate talking brands because I pretty much use. I mean,
everything.
I'm a Walmart shopper. I've always been a Walmart shopper for fishing, and that's just the honest truth of the matter. Is now, if I want to use a bait that I have learned to use, and it's a very specialized bait, and I know it works. One of them is definitely a band of anglers, the hyperlastic dart spins. Ever since I used that lure, I'm a budget angler, so yeah, it's a little expensive, but it goes a long way.
Right.
Hyperlastics lures are very, very tough, durable lures, soft plastics rather, and they have a little spinner bait. They have a little spinner at the back, and you can get them in different sizes. You got 2 inch, 1 inch, 3 inch. You can get them as more as like 4 inch and a half. I think, Randy, for those big
Yep.
tarpon. When you're out
Crying
there
out loud.
saltwater fishing, you got those big. You could drop shot it. You can use it many ways, and I like it because it's versatile. So you can use that in these banks where there's a lot of structure and a lot of grass and stuff, and catch you some good big snakeheads. Peacock bass love it. I mean, you have to expose the hook a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, lures like that are specially, and those are things I don't get all the time. But when I do have them, I have them for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, rattle traps, man. Bill Lewis. What is it? Bill Lewis.
Yep.
Am I right about that name? I'm not sure if I'm right with the name, but those are
If you know a
pastimes
rattle
for me.
trap, it's a rattle trap. It's okay.
Those are pastimes for me. Crankbaits, anything that you can get them to get agitated, because these are creatures that love. They get pissed off, if I can
Mm.
use that term here.
Yep.
They get pissed off, and if you're sight fishing, throw it at them, do a little cat and mouse type of game, and you'll catch them, and you'll have a peacock in your hands, eventually. So very fun.
Okay, so now you said you're kind of going out in the Everglades, and in the Everglades, it's like the wild wild west out there. Like
Oh
it's a
yeah.
lot, it's untouched. A lot of the areas you're
Hmm.
kind of going through.
More
Um,
dangerous.
yeah, definitely very dangerous. You got a lot more fun critters out there. But when you're out there, what are you kind of using? Because you're talking about grass and reeds and a lot of like dead sugar canes and sometimes stuff like that in those
Yeah.
areas. So what are you kind of using to get through all that stuff?
Well, to your broad question, it's very broad. There's a lot of scenarios where situation. I'm a situational angler. You know what I mean? I have like 6 or 7 rods in the back, and I'm not having time there to sit down and change lures and stuff like that. So I have a rod sets of rods that are particular to a situation that comes abruptly. Because the Everglades, one thing about the Everglades is you never know what you're going to catch, and you never know what's going to be on and what's going to work.
Well, and but wait a minute. That's
So,
Florida in general. So
well,
I've been in canals and freshwater
okay,
canals and caught snooks and tarpons on accident. Like it's like
right,
okay, so
right,
you
right,
you
yeah, yeah.
never know.
But so to answer your question, so right now for this, it's spring. So right now, I'm avoiding alligators. I'm trying to avoid alligators. That's for one thing. I'm keeping my eyes and my awareness is at the highest as it is going to be in the whole year. But with these cold fronts, it's helping. But right now, spring right now, I'm a frog guy. I'm a topwater guy. So I'm throwing if there's vegetation, which there is a lot of in the Everglades. If you're not in a canal, if you're not in a barrier canal that buries a lake or something like that, barriers a lake. I'm throwing cover. I'm throwing frogs. Your horny toads, my dart spins. I like to throw out there too. They work
Mhm.
great for like lily pad scenarios and hydrilla that's risen up. What else? And then if there's no vegetation and there's a lot of open areas, or if I want to work those lily pads on the edges, I want to work with a hard bait like a walk the dog type of presentation. My favorite is a torpedo. It always will be. I've caught almost every species that I've ever caught on a torpedo. That's saltwater and freshwater, by the
Right.
way. And so, I mean, honestly, the Everglades, these fish are very, very aggressive. More so than what I've noticed, they're a little bit more aggressive than the fish that are up in Lake Okeechobee, where you've got all these current and more of current and they're a little bit more sensitive to certain weather changes and stuff. Down here in the Everglades, in this marsh, it's always changing. So they're kind
Right.
of like have to live with that. So these fish they're almost to me at this time I'm talking about. They're a little bit more energized. They're a little bit more willing to go after the bait, and protect
Yeah, it's like
their
some
their
fast
whoever's
moving baits.
spawning.
They're a little bit more willing to go after those. I
Right,
wanted to bring
absolutely.
up real quick so everybody can see kind of like what you're talking about, and
Yeah,
that is the dart spin. So that way you can
there
get a
they
little
go.
bit of a look at
Right.
exactly how this profile is. This is obviously a dart spin that's already pre-hooked, but you can
Yep.
put your own hooks in all the rest of them.
Okay.
You go from a 2.5, 3.5, 4.5,
Which
five
is
and a
new
half, and a
by the way.
7.
It's only been out for like about I would say 2.5 years. That 2.5 is one of the ones I've talked to Patrick Seville about. That one right there, that dart spin at 2.5 is a perfect size and a perfect bait to sight cast to these peacock bass. That one right
Right.
there.
Yeah, it's a perfect size, and you know what? Yeah, it's they're fast action and they're moving. Let me click on it real quick and see. Let
Yep.
me get you guys a closer look here. Obviously, they're available in a wide range of colors and different sizes for those. But yeah, you can. Excuse me about that. Um,
Mhm.
these little things are fast and cool. I kind of got hooked on them a little bit with Nick and. Before my time of leaving out of South Florida, I was using the which one is this? The pearly silver one a lot.
Silver one. Yes. That one's
And
pretty. That's a for sure. Like you have to have
yeah,
that on your arsenal when you're out there.
that's a guarantee. Sorry, we're getting
Yeah.
crazy pop-up ads. They want to like
No, no, you're good.
Band of Anglers wants to give me lots of discounts. So yeah, so this is actually really cool. It's got a little spinner on the back of it, gives a lot of flash, and it does agitate the snot out of them.
Oh yeah.
And it is a great little search
All
bait
around
too.
bait.
I mean,
It really do
yeah,
pretty much
yeah,
anything with this bait. You can use them as trailer. I use them as trailers for my spinner baits, for my chatter baits. They're really great, and the fact that they're durable. and you could stretch the heck out of them, and they'll come back to their regular form. Is
Yep.
I think their best selling point is that hyperelastic material that Patrick uses for his soft plastic baits and stuff. I'm not too fond with their hard baits. I have other favorites, but their soft plastic baits are great. They even have these worm spins that are actually worms, and they have that kind of profiles like your traditional like zoom worm, finesse worm.
Now
And
I'm
at the
looking.
back they have a Carolina blade, so it's not a
So it's the worm spin, correct? Oh yeah, and
worm.
it's got the big old paddle
Right, and
Carolina.
let me
Yep.
tell you something, man. That worm spin is great for bass. Great for bass. Yep.
Huh. Well, there you go. There is a tip from Nick. If you're down in South Florida, make sure you grab some of those worm
Yes, sir.
spins and dart spins because they do create some havoc on the water for them. So, all right. So you're getting now to the 40-minute mark of the show, and you knew this was going to happen. You knew I was going to ask you a very deep,
Bring it.
intelligent question here.
Yeah. I don't owe
When?
anybody anything, by the way.
Nope. Nope.
Just
Nope.
in
Nope.
case. Just in case.
When do we see tackle fishing adventures on the paddle and fin?
Oh, see, I knew that was gonna come up. I knew it. I knew that was gonna come up. Honestly, Randy, my heart's telling me do it. My heart's telling me do it. And ever since I've gotten offered this, I've thought about it. I've thought about it because you've told me a couple times, hey, dude, you guys, as far as paddle fin, and before I continue with that, it's amazing to see the growth of paddle and fin. So I give all my respect to Brian and all the guys in the group that tend to take care of this channel and this podcast. You guys have done a great job, and the fact that you brought in Randy and John, you guys have done. It's joy to watch you guys talk about what I like. So I'm 100% supportive. I told Brian already. We've talked to each other in ICAST a couple times. He's had me on in ICAST, I think, the last time. And congratulations to all of you guys. I love to see success because it only encourages me to be successful myself. So, but
So
anyway,
now
to
answer
answer
the
your
question.
question, I hate to go beat around the bush, but it could. There's a possibility there. There's a possibility there. I just have to get more established. But I would love to join you guys in this, what you guys have built, and go there. But that's a tough question, man. That's like trying to interview for me for a job in the middle of a live broadcast
Well,
for
that's
millions to see. But hey,
for millions to see and
I
for thousands
appreciate
to hear
I
all over the
appreciate
world.
the thought of me joining you guys. It's always been an encouraging thing to hear.
Well,
So,
for the past couple of years, we've always tried to get you on here and try to get you to
yeah,
do a show. And so I figure why not ask you while you were on because that's going to be the best time to get an answer. But he didn't say no and he didn't say yes at the same time,
absolutely.
folks.
I can't say yes or no.
He knew I was going to do it
I'll
too.
let my
He
lawyer
knew it.
talk for me. I'll let my lawyer talk for me. Make those decisions.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. You got to talk to talk to the boss in the other room, right?
The boss, yeah, the boss hasn't gotten here yet. Fed the baby, made sure I fed the baby. I cooked. I did everything I needed to do before
Good job.
the boss comes, and then I can go fishing.
There you
That's just
go.
how it works, bro.
That's how it works. That's how it works. No, it will be interesting to see the progression of tackle fishing adventures and Nick moving forward. I know he's got some competitive desires in him. He's got some needs to get out on the water, and not only on just like local waters in South Florida, but a lot of other waters. And so I know he's going to start showcasing those. I would love to see some of those deep Everglades videos, man. That's going to be like the thing I want to see it really
Right,
pop in
right.
there because I know
Yeah.
fish go way back up in there. So that would be awesome to start seeing some of those. And
Thank you. And this advice, like what you just did, is I think left out a lot, and a lot of people that comment on social media. You know how that goes. But that right there, for someone who's trying to get ideas and come up with stuff that's a niche, those things help a lot because I can't think up what everybody else, millions of people that are interested in fishing want to see. You know what I mean? So it does help. So, but yeah, I will definitely be doing that. I wish I had a good lighting in my boat and lighting in my content where I can go at night and show those big hogs. I remember we've caught some like that at night.
Those are terrifying out there in those Everglades, though, man.
That makes content. That makes
I know
great content.
it makes a great content, but at the same time, I still want you to go back home.
I know.
You know,
I know.
I mean, I know what
We
goes
were
on in the
together
Everglades
though.
in the
We were
dark.
together. We weren't
I know
alone. I wasn't
we
alone.
weren't alone, but at the same time, I do know what goes on in the Everglades, and some people don't come back.
That's true. That's true. That's
So
true.
you know, no matter how big your light is, it ain't gonna save your rear end, man.
No, but you'll see
But
it.
yeah, no, it will be really cool. So if you get the opportunity to check into kind of like what Nick's got going on, you can go back and watch a lot of his stuff from the past few years and see just like fishing in South Florida, in those canals, in those lakes. Sometimes you can get into those places. If you're traveling down there and you want to get some information, get a hold of Nick. He's definitely got some fun places. I've been to some awkward spots with Nick in Miami, especially in some people's backyards sometimes. But you know, hey, you know what?
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
You got to do what you got to do in Miami.
Absolutely.
There's not a lot of boat ramps in some of these places.
There's a lot of gates and a lot of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. So Nick's got some permission in some areas to go in. So it's a good trip. So if you want to reach up to him and get down there, it's an opportunity to learn. He's actually showcased some of the trail stops over the past few years in some of his past videos. So if you're looking for a certain lake or something like that, type it in. He's been talking about a couple of them.
You were gonna ask me what boat I'm fishing off of now.
We already know what boat you're fishing off of, man. You've already exploded the internet with what boat you're in.
Dude, that's how dare you, Randy?
No, you got to tell everybody. Okay, so tell everybody what you're in.
I'm kidding.
No, tell everybody what you're in, and then also your favorite fishing rods and stuff you got in your yacht.
So I'm on a Bonafide 127, P27 rather. I love that. Bonafide SS127. That's why it stays here. The P127. What a boat, man. I've been
So wait, are you running power?
No, not yet. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't transitioned.
Gotcha.
Everybody's always like, Nick, bro, when are we gonna see you with some like some electronics, some motors and stuff? No, I'm not there yet. I do enjoy the pedal drive though. It's definitely, it works out for what I do and the fishing I do. And what I'm about to get into as far as financial, like, it does cost money to have a motor on. I mean, that's just the fact. So you have to always have that as a variable. But I enjoy the pedal drive. I enjoy the fact that this boat is what I enjoy about, the SS127 provided me when I owned it, which you know that, and you guys know, people who ever follow me knows that I was just in love with that boat. I'm in love with this boat. I really enjoy the fact that they did that and they put a pedal drive. And then rods and stuff. I'm right now. I transitioned to a company now that the people are great. I'm not going to get involved in, I'm not going to even try to get on a team or anything if it's not where it's family oriented and more in your face. This is what's going to happen. There's no dark horses there. And Vixen rods. I've always owned budgeted rods, Walmart style rods. I'm one of those guys that I could fish with anything and I'll still have the same amount of joy with that than some professional graded $100, $200 rod or reel setup. So to me, I'm not really big on those things, but ever since I've used this one particular, because I've been kind of like experimenting, I haven't found anything wrong to say about it, and it's had tested its time. Like it's worked, and I've been fishing it for like 2 years now. I haven't said it till like now or recently, but it's been working really great for me. So Vixen rods, if you guys ever want to try out a rod, or if you guys are in that experimental process, try yourself a Vixen rods. I love their 7.5 medium heavy fast tip. That's kind of like a traditional size that I use in rods. Depending, it doesn't matter what you're throwing out there. It works great. They feel great. They have that grip with the crossed rubber. So you got that nice kind of like foam but crossed rubber grip that just it feels great. It's a great.
So it's got an EVS foam and also the rubber. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So and then the guides are Fuji guides. I have an extended eye at the bottom that's extended out. Great for long casting, and the fact that it's a longer rod, it helps too with casting and having a more narrow uh,
Approach.
approach. So
There you go.
yeah, man,
I'll help
I've
you.
been in
I'll
love with
help
that.
you. I'll
Thank
help
you,
you. It's
bro.
okay.
You're always there to help me, dude. That's I can't.
It's all
I'm
good,
gonna
man. It's
PayPal
all
you
good.
later. Don't worry, I'll PayPal you later.
Nah. So Vixen rods, man. No, you know what? I think at one time, you might have made me use one of them or something. Didn't you make me use a bait caster once?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're a spinner guy, so we were trying to get you to go to bait casting, and no, it wasn't. No, at that time it wasn't.
Can't
I mean,
remember.
I'm big with 13 fishing also. Like I love their rod and reels. I've learned to not be so excited about the rods because I found a rod that was just blows
Yeah,
you out of the water. But
that's what you like.
I, but the rods and reels are great, and then the price range is amazing for what they offer. So,
All
but
right,
yeah, we had
so
to get you out of that
so
spinner
you
combo thing.
I've been using bait casters now, man. Come on.
It's great, doesn't it work? It just feels great when you're bait casting and you're catching a bass on a bait cast. I don't know, feels great. Just don't hold it wrong, dude. I hate seeing people holding a bait
I don't
caster
hold it wrong. Hold it upside down.
what they hold it at the bottom of the bait of the reel. Good lord! I mean, if it works for you, great. But I mean, I like to cup that thing, like
You gotta hold it just
you
right.
know
You
what
gotta
I'm
have
talking
yeah.
about. Just you have to grab, you have to
Oh,
grasp
watch
the
out.
tail of the reel.
He just went Scarface on us,
Let's
folks.
not go
Watch out.
down. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
This is what happens when you stay in Miami way too long.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, but yeah, Nick, I thank you very much for coming on, brother.
no problem,
It's
dude.
always
Appreciate
fun,
it.
and we haven't had a chance to be on a show in a while, and so just sit back and laugh and kind of reminisce and talk a little bit, and then also talk about a little bit of what you got going on. I'm excited for you to see the progression of what's going to happen next, and also to
Appreciate that,
see.
man.
I'm telling you,
Appreciate
man,
it.
get in the Everglades. I will watch every episode, man, because I love the Everglades. If you
Right.
get deep in there, I will
So
be the
Randy, I'm
happiest.
not gonna say what my future plans are, but it's gonna be good. I'll tell you that there's gonna be a lot of exploring going on, but it's gonna be good.
Nicolas Beltran, tackle fishing adventures, now going to explore.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be a
I'm excited
changing,
for that.
life changing thing, but it's gonna be really good, and I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully that brings out a little more of YouTube content and other things. Yeah, it's
Well,
gonna
and
be good.
now it makes it even
Yeah.
more sense. Now it's more adventures, man.
I'm gonna be. You know what, bro?
It's more adventures.
I'm gonna be at ICAST for a lot more now than ever.
Wait a minute, you're gonna be at ICAST this year? Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not this year, but
Maybe like an hour.
maybe. But anyway, jump to the end, brother.
All right,
Outro.
man. Well, hey, again, thank you, Nick, for coming on. And if anybody wants to go on, you can look him up on Instagram and on Facebook, YouTube, Tackle Fishing Adventures. He's got
TikTok.
all right there. Go and like him on Facebook as Nicolas Beltran too. And you know what? You will not be disappointed when you start watching some of his fishing stuff because it's just kind of cool, chilled, laid back stuff, and it's enjoyable to watch. So,
Thank you, dude.
again, thank you for coming on, and everybody, just always remember, it's the Final Cast show. But is it really the final cast? It's never the final cast.
No.
Have a
I'm
great
not going
weekend.
home
We
yet.
look forward to seeing everybody next week. Enjoy your time, and we will be back next Monday, same time, same bad channel. Enjoy. Bye.